The Minister said this is not just about compensation, it's about restoration. And that is true. But is it not also about misfeasance in public office? Yeah. So will the Minister confirm that the maximum penalty for a public servant who willingly and knowingly acts in a manner that results in harm, injury or financial loss to an innocent party is life imprisonment?
Yeah.
Can I refer my honourable friend to the article in the Howard Justice Journal of Crime and Justice, to the article by Maguire M.R. and Renaud K., Harm, Injustice and Technology, Reflections on the UK Submasters Case. It shows on page 444 the graph of the prosecutions, which rose from 10 in 1997 to nearly 80 in 2001. People responsible should have noticed that you aren't going to get ordinary decent people, sub-postmasters and sub-postmasters, suddenly going crooked on that scale. Secondly, if the article is read, it talks about the bugs which were named after the sub-post offices where they were discovered. The Del Mellington bug, the Canada Square bug. And can I also refer my honourable friend to the article in The Sun talking about my constituent Cheryl Shaw, who gave up in 2008. Having been losing £400 week after week, she got the post office investigators down, who claimed they couldn't find anything to explain what was happening. She had to sell out. She lost her home, took on work as a carer. She is illustrative of those who were convicted and those who gave up before they were prosecuted. There are so many people who actually now believe that the Horizon scheme was set up for one purpose, was adapted to another where it didn't work, and when people started entering things twice, there was apparently a loss where the post office actually didn't lose any money. So if the post office weren't losing money, how could people properly be prosecuted? And the Titanic error was the belief in technology.
Just today I've been contacted by local sub-postmasters who want to meet with me. They were never prosecuted. They had shortfalls. They paid back money to the post office. Many of them just walked away, retired, and they now have no evidence about what happened, because when you walk away from a post office, all of the financial documentation goes back to Post Office Limited. So can we have a thought about that, Minister? Can you also confirm that all this money did go back to Post Office Limited, enhance the profits on which many bonuses over the years were paid to Post Office executives? And could we have pressure put on those people to repay these bonuses? The Minister's statement, there's very little in it I would disagree with, and I think there has to be a real consensus across the chamber on this. But some words did spring out at me, things like very shortly and in due course. Can we please have fixed timelines on when we get reports back? I want to commend Sir Wyn Williams, who I first met when he first took on the inquiry before it became statutory, and it sounds ridiculous for me to say I was impressed by him, but I really understood that he was going to get to the bottom of what has happened, and he has done that in spite of grievous failures on behalf of Post Office Limited. Mr Deputy Speaker, there must be accountability for all in Post Office Limited and Fujitsu who prosecuted and persecuted sub-postmasters over the years. And I pledge that these SNP benches will continue to put pressure on government of any colour to keep the momentum going on this, to ensure justice and real justice is served. And if that involves more pressure on the former CEO and for people who received honours and because of the work they did in Post Office Limited. I know the Minister's nodding. I know he will agree with me.
But the government needs to do four things. It needs to stop the Post Office unnecessarily challenging the victims' appeals and find a more rapid method to exonerate all of the innocent victims. To instruct the Post Office to stop hiring expensive lawyers to challenge the compensation claims and therefore to accelerate the payment mechanism. to strip away the Post Office's right to police its own cases, and to accelerate the investigatory procedures prior to criminal prosecutions of the real villains in this case, which of course are, well, we know who they are. Does the Minister believe he can achieve those 4 aims in months rather than years?
Now, the Minister has said quite a bit today already, but can he give some insights into the steps that will be taken to review the actions and accountabilities of Fujitsu, and with that the culpabilities as they are still awarded contracts week after week across government? This entire scandal has demonstrated acute institutional state failure across state institutions that has to be acknowledged. So can I ask what review will take place of the corporate governance actions of the Department of Business overseeing its shareholder responsibilities towards the Post Office during this period, and therefore what changes can proceed around the governance and the accountability of the Post Office?
Minister.
Well, can I thank her for a question, and I share a wish to pay tribute to the postmasters who have obviously campaigned so long but also effectively on this particular issue. And I read with interest her piece recently over the weekend in terms of what she thinks should be done. I agree with much as what she said. As I said earlier, anybody who's responsible at a corporate level, albeit individually, should be held to account, and that may include payments made, of course, to assist with compensation and indeed contracts that certain companies may be awarded. Certainly, we think that it's right that we let Sir Win Williams undertake his inquiry, report properly, assign blame. We should take action, whether it be against corporates or against individuals at that point in time, and make sure both of those bodies are accountable.